Good morning, everybody. Monday Morning Quarterback, Episode 8. And I hope this is the last week that I'm doing this in a jacket. It is spitting snow outside again after we had some days in the 70s last week. Frustrating. But we did get some racing in last week. I got to go to Kokomo on Friday for the first night of the Grand Prix. Second night rained out. But the first night was good. Sunshine. Tyler Courtney picked up the win. And so that was a good one for us. Real slick track. They were running our new bump rubber kit, as were the rest of the Clausen Marshall cars. 5th for Justin Grant, 6th for Zeb Wise. Always loved getting to see Zeb race. Been following him since he was 8 years old. Actually drove our quarter midget house car a few times for us, and love getting to watch him progress. So Jake headed to Jacksonville for the Outlaw race. About the time he arrived, it rained out. So Bloomington Speedway here locally ran Friday night as well. Kyle Cummins picked up the win on CSI Shocks, and Ethan Barrow in the 305. So good start to the season here for us. We're moving this week, so my office is pretty barren, as you can tell. I've packed most of it up, and the guys are out in the shop packing now, and we're going to finish build out on the new shop and get everything moved this week and be back up and running next week for you guys. So we appreciate your patience through this. Next week's Monday Morning Quarterback, barring any disasters, will be at the new shop. So looking forward to that and getting moved and settled in, and got some exciting new programs and things we're going to announce in the coming weeks related to our move and things we've been working on here the past few months. So got a few notes from people that emailed things in. Try to get everybody dialed in here and get questions, get pulled up over here where I can see questions. Okay. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. It's episode 8. This went by quick. We're going to improve some of the equipment we have moving forward at the new shop, so these videos are a little nicer and streamed better. But the basic point of it is just to be here every week to answer your questions and try to give you some insight on issues you might be having with your car and such. So as we're waiting for people to tune in, a couple notes I had. Last week, King of California Micro Series kicked off. We're proud to be a part of that series. I grew up racing micros on the West Coast, and it's fantastic to see that series growing. I think they had 129 cars at Delta Speedway on Saturday, which is a track I raced every Friday night for several years. So that's great to see. Customers waved that CSI flag big out there last week. Corey Day picked up a win in Restricted. Colton Hardy and Ben Worth in Super 600. Tristan Gardino in NonWing, and Austin Wood in the Junior Sprint. So awesome start for us out there, and that's a cool series that we're glad to be a part of. So first question from Todd: what is your recommendation for a rough heavy track for the right rear bump rubber wing 360? I don't have the sheet in front of me right now. Off of memory, I believe it is with our new kit, a yellow, a purple, and a black with about 1.5 inch gap. But Todd, if you shoot me an email, I can send you over that sheet. You're not going to be getting into it as hard on a rough heavy track. Your car's going to be laying left pretty hard, and you'll be in that left rear bump rubber a fair bit. But that will be there to help you get in and out of holes and whatnot. So I've had a couple questions about that, about rough, heavy tracks, which is really common this time of year in the spring. Ground saturated from the winter, tracks are chunking up and getting rough, a lot of moisture in the ground, and that can tend to be a challenge. So I got a question from a customer out west. He was referring to Petaluma, a track I grew up going to, and is inherently rough, changes as the tide comes in. And so his question was, we'd mentioned taking rebound out when the track gets rough. And his question was all 4 shocks. Typically we're referring to left rear, right rear, just across the back. Sprint cars, his question was related to a sprint car. Not a lot of nose weight in a sprint car. So the front end tends to come up pretty easily and get in and out of those holes. We don't usually see a lot of bouncing from the front end on a rough track. It's usually isolated to the back. For that reason, we would just make those adjustments on the rear, because we're not, I think if you take rebound out of the front, it's actually going to make it worse. So that would be strictly to the rear on that. Michael Sampson, how long until bump rubber kits for the micros? So we have the bump rubber kit for the micros available now. We've got a few customers using them, loving them. I know John Randall's tuned in, and he's been using it, NonWing. We haven't got to collect a lot of data points on the micro yet. So it's top of our agenda. Once we get this move behind us, the weather gets better, we get to do some more testing around here. We haven't really promoted the kits a ton to the micro world, because we want to be able to offer more assistance once we do that. So we think it's going to work great. We just need to fine tune exactly what the car is going to need from a package and a gap standpoint on that. So those are available, Samson. If you want to start fooling with it, we'd be more than happy to get you going on that and see what we can do there. So we do have a little bit of data we can share with you and get you pointed in a general direction. So thank you for that question. Next question that was emailed in ahead of time was the difference between wing and non-wing shocks related to a sprint car. So there's quite a bit of difference. The first one is length. So typically we're running shorter shocks on the front of a wing sprint car, the way it's blocked. Most of the purpose-built non-wing cars that got taller shock towers on them, we're running like a 7-inch gas shock in the front. We're on a wing car, you'd run 6-inch. And then the rears were running 8-inch, and gas shocks were on a wing car, we would have like an 8-inch left rear, 9-inch right rear. So length is a difference. And then valving is quite a bit different. So we're softer in the front on a wing car than we are a non-wing car. We're building a lot more control into the shocks with a non-wing car because they roll so much. So trying to control the car a little bit more. And really a style difference. So most of our wing guys are running our large body twin tube shock, and most of our non-wing guys are running our gas shock. Now there is some exceptions. We do have some guys that are liking to run the gas right rear. We have Mark Smith out in Pennsylvania who switched to our gas shocks all the way around and is having a great season and is really happy with them. So there's a few exceptions there, but there's definitely a valving difference. We run a lot more rebound in the left rear of a non-wing car, and stiffer compressions on the right rear and the front. So if you're trying to do both with the same set of shocks, get a hold of me and we will do the best we can to make you a happy medium for both. We do have some guys that do that, that'll take the wing off occasionally and try to run their wing shocks. And it works okay, just not ideal. All right. The next question that was emailed in was in relation to Spec non-wing cars. So like the Spec Sprints that race out in California. We know over in Australia they run a V6 Spec non-wing car. We built some shocks for those guys, and then now we're starting to see, like in Texas and whatnot, the 305s going non-wing and what packages we're running there. So with those cars, since they are heavier typically and down on horsepower a fair bit, 400 or 500 horsepower versus 800 to 900, we are doing some things differently. So less rebound in the front, trying to get weight transfer to the back, a little bit softer compressions than we would run in a 410 non-wing car. We're not needing to control the car as much because it's just not as violent when it has half the horsepower. So we do have specific packages for those. We work really hard on our 305 stuff and our Spec Sprint stuff. So we do have some packages specific to those lower horsepower cars, whether it be wing or non-wing. So that was that. Those are the only questions that I had emailed in this morning. So if anybody that's tuned in has a question, feel free to fire away. Otherwise, I'm going to get back to packing boxes and helping those guys get ready for our move. So for those of you who just joined in or who are going to watch this later, we're closed all week, and we apologize for that. We were doing our best to keep it to 2 or 3 days, but just the way things played out, trying to get the new shop built and get everything ready here, it's quite a task to move. We've been in business for 9 years now, and we got a lot of stuff that needs moved, and a lot of stuff on the back end that needs built out, and the new network and the wiring for all the dynos, etc., etc. So we're gonna get everything knocked out this week and this weekend, and be firing on all 8 cylinders Monday at our new location, and we look forward to going Facebook Live for Monday Morning Quarterback next week at our new shop. So if that's it for now, nobody has any questions, we'll sign off. Thank you everybody for watching. Please share this and follow us at competitionsuspension.com so you'll be notified whenever we go live. We're going to do a little bit more live videos moving forward. This will be our weekly staple to answer questions for you guys, and we might be able to do a shop tour next week if we got everything put away and whatnot at the new place. So thanks for tuning in. Hope everybody has a great week. If I didn't get your question answered, feel free to shoot me a Facebook message or an email, and we'll get you answered up. Thank you very much, guys.